This is Proverbs 20:1. Wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging, and whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Call Valoy and La Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Barakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who do well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shawab Omawan back at you with another lesson. And as you can see the title, the prohibition is back. All right, they shall not drink wine with a song. All right, and I'm going to read Proverbs 20:1. Wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging, and whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. All right, so we know that wine, when you drink a lot of wine, you begin to mock and become prideful, and you mock with your words. Okay, as a matter of fact, let me go into that real quick. That word mocker, just to see what it says. All right. NLT says wine produces mockers, alcohol leads to brawls. Those led astray by drink cannot be wise. All right. So wine being a mocker, okay, makes sure what? A scoffer says to scorn, make mouths at, talk arrogantly, okay, to boast, okay, deride. All right, it says to be inflated, scoff, act as a scorner, show oneself a mocker. All right, and we know that the Lord hates those that are scoffers and mockers. Okay, scriptures talk about in those last days there will be many scoffers. Okay, after their own lust of things. All right, strong definition says properly to make mouths at. All right, to scoff, from the effort to pronounce a foreign language, to interpret, generally intercede, ambassador, having derision. All right. Just wanted to see what it said anyway. When you go down to the Jacenius Hebrew lexicon, all right, it says to stammer, to speak barbarously. Okay. Which, that's what's going to happen. All right. After I show you this, matter of fact, I'll just bring it out right now. Point of why I'm bringing out these definitions, right? It says DJ Trump, right? It says a very disturbing thing is happening, and this was tweeted on his tweet, right? It says a very disturbing thing is happening all across our once great country. Okay, raging alcoholics everywhere, bars packed, bottles flowing, nobody working, nobody focused. Weak leaders allowed it to spiral completely out of control. Families destroyed, productivity gone, streets a mess. Nobody wants to say it, but I will. If this continues, maybe it's time to seriously look at the 18th Amendment prohibition to ban alcohol permanently. America was stronger, safer, and sharper before the drinking culture took over. We don't need hangovers. We need greatness. Let's make America sober again. You see? Shalom, Sister Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barakatah. So this devil's to the point where he's trying to actually ban, all right, alcohol. And, some people might say, okay, it is what it is. So what? What's the point? But see, America's collapsing. And one thing that I've realized that people do, even though the mirth of the land is gone, is people turn when things are collapsing and things ain't going right in people's ways, they turn to drugs, they turn to alcohol. Alcohol is one of the number one drugs used in America. All right. How many Americans drink alcohol on a daily basis? Let's see how it comes up with that,
According
right?
to CNN, even among people who do drink, the poll found that people are also drinking less. A record low 24% of drinkers said they had a drink in the past 24 hours, while 40% said it was more than a week since they last imbibed, the highest figure Gallup has recorded since 2000. The poll was conducted in July.
Yeah, see, I don't believe that. It says, let's see what we got here. It says, what percentage of Americans drink alcohol every day? All right, because you got to understand, there's people losing their homes. There are people losing their jobs. You know, people, can't pay the bills no more. So when people, losing their relationships, when people go through things like that, man, people tend to go and drink. That's why you'll still, even though the mirth of the land is gone, you'll still see people up in fucking bars, man, getting drunk. All right, because what it is they try to drink away. They drink in sorrow. Okay, they try to drink away their problems. Okay, and it says, what is the number one country for alcoholism? All right. You got Belarus. All right. Let's see. Latvia, United States. All right. It says 13.9. All right. 13.9 in South Korea. All right. Maybe I'm asking the wrong questions. All right. It says, what ethnic group has the most alcoholics? Caucasians. Yeah, that one. See, that one's on point. All right, Caucasians is the number one leaders of drinking at the liquor store. That's why you always see your average Joe Schmo, all right, at the fucking liquor store, getting his little beers. And that even goes more in hand with what I want to say. America's being divided. All right, Egyptians against Egyptians. All right, America sees their own country collapsing. So the main one that's going to be drinking is going to be these damn Edomites, man, these Caucasians, you see? And they get tough. They get ballsy when they drink, they get faggoty too. But, for the main reason of the lesson, a lot of them is going to become more proudful because in these last days, they're becoming more proudful to what's going on, especially with, Donald Trump basically putting them in that prideful spirit because DJ Trump is on a prideful spirit himself right now, man. He's on a roll with his pride. So it's just it's gonna spread like a disease, you see? So again, it might not look like it. Forget these statistics right here. I know people is drinking their life away right now. All right? Because let's grab this. Scriptures say, give strong drink to a man that feel like he's about to perish. Okay? Let me grab that real quick. Give me 1 second. Strong drink. This is Proverbs 31:6. Give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish, and wine unto those that be of heavy hearts. You see? So the world, man, these people are in a spirit of heavy hearts, man. A lot of these people cannot fathom what's going on around them right now because they see their actual country falling apart, man. They see how their own cruel lord, their president, right, is setting them up for the okie doke. You see, setting everybody up in America for failure, man. So, they might not be straight alcoholics, but a lot of people, a lot more of them are turning to drinking, trying to, ease the pain, drink they night away so they ain't got to think about it. All right. Shalom, Malak, Barakatah. So, it puts them in a certain type of, mindset. All right. And like I said, let's read that again. It says, give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish. A lot of these people, all right, know what time it is. They know they're about to get in a certain spirit, all right, to defend their families, to defend this country, to basically go all out, all right, to make things great again, all right. And in order for you, we already know that Esau, they some punk ass, soft ass, ice cream ass niggas, man. All right, so in order for them to deal with Jake, and Jake is in rage right now, okay, with a lot of what's going on. All right, see, they're gonna have to drink themselves to get a little ballsy against Jake. Okay, again, we're in a time where even though it's not telling you too much statistics on it, we know that this place is filled with drug addicts and drunks, man. You see them at the liquor store every day. You see these people on the street corners, in each of our towns and states, whatever state we're living in, there's bums all over the place, man. more bums than we've ever seen. Okay. I done seen people that were never drinkers and drug addicts because of the times that we're in, they had become those, man. Because your government has pushed you to that limit. Again, people lost, relationships, people losing their houses and becoming homeless, you know. People are just in general, man. They're not able to take in what's happening to their country that was once great. You see, so going back to Proverbs 20:1, it says, "Wine is a mocker, strong drink is a raging. Strong drink is raging, and whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise." So if it wasn't a problem in society, if it wasn't a problem in America, then why the hell would they take this prohibition and take it to the next level, right? We don't have to, right? There's no alcoholics here. So if the percentage and statistics is low of alcoholic people, why the hell are you trying to push a prohibition for? There's a reason why he's telling you this, because the statistics that's being said is not the right statistics, man. A lot of people are drinking, and it says strong drink is a raging. Okay, so people are gonna go crazy when you take away about the only little thing that they got left to try to cover up their sorrows. You see, this is why when you go into Isaiah the 24th chapter. All right, let's grab that. It speaks about what? Let's grab it from 7. Okay, it says the new wine mourneth. Okay, and the new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, and all merry-hearted do sigh. Okay, so really going into this truth, all right, is the new wine, all right, because we the ones that is crying out to the Lord, all right, with this word of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, all right. But it says the new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all merry-hearted do sigh. All right. See, these people at one point, were happy, living good in America. Everything was all good. Everything was good just a week ago. That's how it was, type of spirit, But now these people sigh because of what's going on around the world, man. People look at the news, they're always just like, damn, some other shit going down. It's one thing after another, a domino effect after another. So people go from, being comfortable in society to being uncomfortable, you see? And this is what's going to make people go even more crazy, that they were once comfortable and now they're feeling what it feels like to be uncomfortable. See, that's why the Lord has put the spirit on us to be uncomfortable. You see, that's what makes us grow with Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Because if you're comfortable, that means you're stagnant. And if you're stagnant, that means your ass is going to be left here in America. Okay, because you should always be growing with Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. Okay, so these people that have been comfortable for a long time are now uncomfortable, and it's getting them edgy. Okay, it gets them in that frenzy. They like crackheads right now. You know what I'm saying? They uppity, jittery. They're waiting for the next damn move. They're waiting to see what happens next. What their president is going to say next is going to piss them off. You see? So it says, the mirth of the tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. All right. So remember, America at one point, man, you would go to the bars. This shit was packed. This shit was popping. Okay. All types of people at the bar drinking, having a good old time, singing their songs, singing, on the dance floor, getting jiggy with it, and now it says what? The joy, all right, it says the noise of them that rejoice endeth. So now we're in a time where all the joy, all right, as we're going to continue to read, it tells you the mirth of the land is gone. So there's no more joy. We are in serious times, you see? We're in times where, nigga, they might snatch your ass up out your house and put your ass into the war. They might snatch you up out of your house, away from your children, and take you to a FEMA camp. Okay? So it ends the joy, all right, around us, because now you're more on you're constantly looking around, all right, making sure of your surroundings. You see? So that means they're uncomfortable again. You see, when you were comfortable, you didn't have to look around your surroundings. You didn't have to watch what was going on around you. All right. But we're in a time where you got to be circumspect, redeeming the times because the days are evil, you know? So the joy that they once had is now being taken away. And what people do is when people see things going in a bad manner, in a bad way, all right, that's one of the first things they kind of run to. They'll try to find ways to keep their minds occupied. And what they do is they drink. You know, I've seen that shit with my own, friends. I done seen that with, family members and shit. You know, people turn to liquor when times are tough. All right. As a matter of fact, let me see if I could look this up real quick. Is alcohol something people run to in bad times? Let's just see what it says. All right. It says, why do people run to alcohol? All right. It says alcohol and mental health. It says you may feel like alcohol is your coping mechanism. Yeah, that's exactly what it becomes. It becomes a coping mechanism, a way to deal with depression, stress, anxiety, other difficulty feelings. Okay. Let me see what it says in there. Let me go into it more. All right. It says, this content mentions substance. Salaka. It says how alcohol affects your brain, your body, and your mental health, and how to get help if you're worried about your drinking. This content mentions substance abuse or addiction, which may include mentions of alcohol or drug use, suicide or suicidal thoughts. Man, that's one of the main things you see here in America. Suicide rates is up. All right. A lot of people can't cope with the shit that's going on, so they just rather just fucking off themselves, man. All right. And that's going to be a very, that percentage is going to go even higher in these last days, man. Because what the scriptures say, men's hearts failing them from fear from the things that are happening on the earth, man. So people going to be having heart attacks. Some people just not going to be able to bear it. And they're just going to off themselves, And the first ones that be offing themselves is these damn Edomites, man. All right. Because our people, strong people, man. It ain't nothing for us to deal with some bullshit, man. We've been dealing with bullshit all our lives, man. But you see, a lot of people turn to suicide, self-harm, depression, anxiety. Okay. Let me see what else it says here. It says alcohol and mental health are closely linked. Yeah, because our people is in mental health right now. Okay. The things that are happening to them are making them mentally unstable, or making them mentally unhealthy. You see, it says are closely linked. Drinking too much can affect your well-being. Some people may drink to try to relieve the symptoms of mental ill health. Okay. People drink for many reasons: to celebrate, socialize, all right, commiserate, or down our sorrows. We may drink to try and change our mood to feel more relaxed, courageous, or confident. I was just saying that. And see, a lot of these Edomites, that's what they're going to do. That's why when they go to these bars, they drink, and then they come out here with that patriotic spirit. You see, now they're ready for war. However, the effect of alcohol is only temporary, and we know that. As it wears off, we often feel worse because of how alcohol withdrawals affects our brain and body. You may feel like alcohol is your coping mechanism, a way to deal with depression, stress, anxiety, or other difficult feelings. You might be nervous about what life would be like if you stop drinking or cut back. But relying on alcohol to manage your mental well-being can become a problem in itself. There's no shame in asking blah, blah, blah for help, blah, blah, blah. And I don't need to go no more into it, right? Just wanted to see what it says, all right? It says, why do people run to alcohol? You may start to rely on alcohol to relieve negative feelings or deal with problems. Over time, you may need to drink more to feel the same effect. This is called developing a tolerance. All right, we know that, okay? But the point is, man, rough times. As a matter of fact, look, that's wild. It says drinking during rough times, A lot of people are drinking in these rough days, man. So let's go back to Isaiah 24. It says in 8, it says, the mirth of the tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the heart ceaseth. They shall not drink wine with a song. So if they take this away, man, people not gonna be drinking no more, man. There's gonna be no more drinking wine with a song, you know, trying to find a way to you know, cope with the society that's being put in front of you, man. Okay, which is just pure hell. You see, these people have made an agreement, okay, with hell and death. All right, so now you're gonna have to learn how to deal with it. You know, it says, strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. All right, imagine they take away alcohol and all this shit, right? And then when people go to actually, you know, because you're going to have people making moonshines and shit like that. But even when these people make these little, you know, drinks on the side, all right, from after it being banned, all right, when they go to drink it, it's not going to be, it's going to be very bitter to them. Okay. Why? Because we live in a bitter ass captivity. That's what America represents. America means bitter. Okay. So the more you see America collapsing, all right, the more bitter it gets in society. You see, it says the city of confusion. Yeah, because this is Babylon the Great, and Babylon goes back to Babel, which means total confusion, man. It says is broken down, every house is shut up, that no man may come in. And what happened in the time of 2020, man? When they shut this shit down, they had all these lockdowns, man. Okay. People were going crazy in their houses, man. They couldn't get to the liquor store. You see, you know, if you were lucky, you know, like I remember when that shit went down, man, there was at one point I grabbed me like hella bottles. You know, I had like 100 bottles in my house of wine, you know, that I got them at like $5 a piece. And you know, I had them in the cut. Wasn't drinking them every day, but I had them in the cut. So whenever I wanted to sip a little something, you know, because I'm not a drinker at all, you know, I had something to drink. But unless they do something like that, these people gonna be going crazy that are alcoholics, man. They're gonna turn into ragers. You know, they're gonna go through that withdrawal. A lot of these people gonna kill their wives. They're gonna kill their kids. You know, a lot of these people couldn't deal with their children being locked up in the house days and after days. You know, because America is spoiled. America is a place where they have to have some type of commitment to something. They have to have some type of freedom and be able to go here, go there if they want. So when they close these things up, which is going to be locked down again, they're actually speaking about it right now. Okay, lockdowns. All right, what do you think is going to happen? They definitely going to shut these damn liquor stores down again, these bars down again. Okay, and much more if this devil DJ, all right, brings this prohibition back, okay, to America, you know, because he wants to make America sober again. Okay, make it make sense, man. It says the city of confusion is broken down, every house is shut up, and that no man may come in. Okay, there is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened, the mirth of the land is gone. All right, which we know that really goes into, you know, a crying for wine in the streets is going to be for the answers. All right, they're going to be looking for the answers of what's going on in this society, and we have the answers through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, but again, you know, people are going to literally be crying for wine in the streets. Okay, to try to find a way to cope with their problems. You see, so you know, it's just something that, you know, I ran across, and I was like, look at this devil. You know, he's just really trying to pinpoint every angle. He's trying to get you at every angle to destroy you. You know, because people will find loopholes. You know, and he's taking away them loopholes. You know, from people. Which, you know, at the end of the day, none of us really should be into that drinking spirit anyway, because all that shit does is bring what? Spirits upon you. That's why it's called spirits, liquor spirits, you know. So, you know, it's okay to drink. You know, you got to drink in moderation. Okay. It's okay to have a little wine and shit. You know, you have wine with your little, you know, with your food, you know, your dinner. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. You know, our Lord was a wine bibber, right? He was someone that drank a lot of wine. Okay. But at the end of the day, you know, we have to keep our bodies, you know, our temple as cleansed as possible. okay, as clean as possible, you know, to be able to be, you know, spiritually in tune with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you know. So just wanted to share that. As a matter of fact, let me see if there's one more precept uh, on wine. There's a couple of them throughout the scriptures. All right. But, you know, I pretty much made the point, you know, this devil's trying to take away, you know, the Edomites' joy. They love drinking, man. Edomites love fucking drinking. I grew up around Edomites that drink their ass off, man. Everything is a fucking drink to them. They always got a damn beer and all these different types of liquors in their house, you know. And, you know, once that shit is taken away from them, forget about it. All right. They're going to look at life different. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, nah, that's pretty much the point, you know. Yeah, that's true. That's the point. I see. There's a bunch of other precepts, but they ain't got nothing to do with actual drinking, or it's being just spoken of someone drinking in the scriptures or something. But you know, the point has been made, man. So you know, well, let's see what this damn president does with this prohibition shit, if it comes to life or not. You know, which I'm pretty sure it will. All right, because shit is about to be locked down. Shit is about to be, you know, turned off. they about to turn everything off out here, man. They about to turn everything down. You know, we're in tough times, man. We are in perilous times, dangerous times. So who the fuck should be in the spirit of drinking anyway when you have to stay sober? All right, scriptures say that. Be sober and vigilant, you know, because your adversary, the devil, all right, seeking whom he may devour at the end of the day. So, you know, to be sober is to be alert, to be active, and you want to be active in this truth, you know. There's no time for us to really be sipping on anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if you got something at your house and you know, sip a little drink here and there, you know, it is what it is. You know, us being in this truth, knowing that, you know, we're ready to die for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Yeah, that's cool. You know, take a little sip of a strong drink, as the scripture just said. You know, give strong drink to those that feel like as they're gonna perish, man. You know, and we know we're about to perish in this life. This whole life is about to perish. So a drink here and there ain't nothing wrong with it. You know, but we ain't gonna be like these Edomites. We ain't gonna be like these 2/3. These 2/3, all they love doing is drinking. You know, even when they're not at the club, they trying to figure a way to drinking. You know, get loose for the night, get loose with, you know, their significant other. You know, but it ain't the right move to do in these last days, man. All right, so I'm gonna leave it at that through the Spirit, Lord willing, that you will edify. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Call Elohim La Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Wachakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who grew well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad. The Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing, that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom. Keep fighting the good fight of faith. You're doing this good soldiers of Yahweh Shai. Shalom.